Hello everyone, I hope you're well. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So we're going to continue with our Thrinchie. So I'm going to do our next Thrinchie. So we've done 19 and 20, and in the previous video we did 21. I just love how that turned out. So we're now going to do Thrinchie 22, just so that it coordinates with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the A5 stamp set Alpha Florals. I'm just going to take the little sort of oblong stamp, rectangle, whatever you call it. I'm going to take that little, there we go. So I'm taking this stamp here, this one here, and I'm going to ink that with my Nocturne ink. I've already got my Thrinchie outlined with my black Posca pen, so that it's got a faux black mat. Do you like how I can't make my mind up? I'm going to add that there. And I really don't need to press too hard. Let's move that out of the way. There we go. I'll just grab a little wipe just so that I'm not getting those black marks onto my project, because I'm picking the stamp up and the ink's not dry yet. I'm then going to take the little tulip from Branched Heart. So I'll just take that stamp set, because we used that in our previous Thrinchie. Just so that you can see here, using the little tulip flower. And I've got things under my feet that keep falling over. There we go. So I'm now going to take the little flower, and we're going to stamp this in the Sand Dune. So I'm going to take my Sand Dune VersaFine Clair. Let's move some of this out of the way so you can actually see. Let's move the Thrinchie book out of the way so that it doesn't get in a mess. There we go. I'm going to add the tulip, the first one, here. And then so that I can make them different heights, I'm just going to take a piece of copier paper just to go on the edge of the line. And then I'm going to ink again with the Sand Dune. And now that means I can make the tulips different heights as well, just so it looks a little more pleasing to the eye. So again, we'll take that little tulip. Let's have you there. So we can have them at different heights, which just makes it a little more pleasing to the eye. I can't pick that off. Let's take that off. And then normally I would sort of recommend that you allow that to dry, or you take the heat tool to it before you use your Prisma pencil, just so that you don't pick up any of that colour. With it being the Sand Dune, it's not quite like using the darker colour, so it's not too bad. So I'm going to just take the olive green, which is PC 911. I'm just going to add a little bit of colour with this darker colour. Let's add it to the stem as well. And again, so just using the dark green just to add a little bit of the colour. I'm then going to go to my moss green PC1097 and just add a little bit of the moss green, just in a circular motion. You can see there's hardly any leaf on these here because I've just used part of that. And then I'm just going to come in with the chartreuse, which is 989. And I hardly have to touch these leaves with the chartreuse, just a little touch of that colour. But I'm still, like I would normally, going to come in and add those layers just to soften that out a little bit. Obviously with the smaller leaves it doesn't take much to add the colour to those. And then I'm going to come in with the chartreuse, and even on the tiniest leaf just add a little bit of that lighter colour just onto those leaves, just to give a little bit of lighter colour. And I'm just going to come back with this dark green here and just make sure you can see that that's got sort of a folded leaf. I can easily add more shading with my Inktense grey pencil as well. So I'm going to colour the florals, and this is the Black Cherry 1078. So just going around with that circular motion. Just to add that colour, and then my mid colour, which is Crimson Red 924. Coming into the dark colour again with that circular motion. And at the moment this is just laying down the colour. It doesn't really give us a blend, it's just laying down the initial layers of colour. And if you want it so that you don't press too hard, and if you struggle with that, hold your hands further up the pencil. That will stop you from pressing on too hard. So you could hold your pencil a little bit further up. But I'm going to layer the second layer of colour now. Smoothing out the pigment, and then coming in to that dark colour with my mid colour, just to soften those edges out, and again not pressing too hard. And with the final colour coming into all those layers with the, and normally I do go in with 3 layers. So let's do the 3 layers just on our floral. And you can see it smooth out before your eyes, especially with adding sort of those light layers. And then going to the lightest colour, which is Poppy Red 922. There we go. And I can just give that a little bit of time just to rest. And then I'm going to where's the little on TE32 we've got our alphabet, so I'm going to put the word on here. Now you can spell the whole thing out if you wish, or you can just do one letter at a time. It's entirely up to you. You don't have to press very hard. It's just deciding whether you want all upper and lowercase or just all upper. I think I'm going to do upper and lowercase. And don't ink over your work, because you know what will happen. Because it's bound to. Now I want the L. So always ink away from your work. And these really don't take too much ink and too much pressure at all. Little I. I quite like adding them separately, so it's sort of not quite so. Is that a capital I? That's a capital I. Where's the little I? I know I have got one. You know when you look at your alphabet and you're like, where is it? That's the capital. There it is. I knew I'd got a lowercase I. We have to have that mix. Now I just want a lowercase p. And I am trying not to say the alphabet out loud, because I do that every single time I start saying the alphabet. So I'm trying not to do it. And just make sure your letters are not going to sort of fall onto your card. And obviously you can bring your P so it's lower down if you wish. I just like the sort of random, just makes it a little more quirky. I'm then going to take the background stamp, which is TE11. Just like we did in the previous Thrinchie, I'm going to add a little bit of background stamping, and I'm going to use that with the sand dune. Just the edge of my ink pad I'm using, just so that we can add a little bit of text. So I'm sort of tilting the ink pad and just using the edge of that. And just one finger just to press that down, just to give me those touches of text in the sand dune, which is just lovely. Just adds a lovely little bit of text, which I really like. I really love that little touch of text. And I don't clean my stamp. The only reason I was wiping it is because I'm going to put it straight back, just so that we haven't got too much clutter on the desk. And I'm going to take my little grey Inktense pencil and just add along this bottom edge here. You know me, you know these are my favourite little bits by now, is adding the finishing touches. Just to the card, and then I'm going to sort of add a little bit more shading just to the leaf, and then just around just to give a tiny touch more shading around the sort of tulip a little bit. So I'm not using too much water, but just so that it's got a little bit of a shadow. Maybe a little bit more than that, Tracy. So you can actually see. Just so that's got a little bit of a shadow. Just gives it a touch more definition. And the actual text stamping won't move because that's a permanent ink pad. So we don't have to worry about that. It's not going to move anywhere. So it just gives it a little bit of a shadow. And it's up to you how much of that shadow you incorporate. And it's the finishing touches that I can faff with for ages. It's just the little bits that I really do enjoy. So just adding a little bit of shading, and then we can just add our little touches of white. To our florals, just to bring them to life a little bit. Obviously you can go over that a little more, and then I'm going to go back to TE32 and I'm going to use one of the hairs. So let me just see. So let's just take that hair off, because I like to use the acetate just to see. Yeah, I think I'm going to have in there. I love the little critters. It just adds a lovely finishing touch each time. I just think they work so well. Look at that over inking there. That's because you've got a small stamp on your acrylic block and it just touches the lower part there. You can easily add another stamp to the bottom to stop that. Just make sure your stamp isn't going to fall. And we'll just add our little hair here. And just give that a few moments just to absorb onto the surface of that card, so that, you know, if you lift it too soon, you don't get a good impression then, because you've not given the ink time. It's all about having a little bit of patience. Just wonderful. Let's place that one here. And then do I want the other one just down here as a balance? So we're going to use the other hair. Again, lots of tapping with our stamp. And let's have this hair here. And again, I don't need to press hard with the smaller stamps, but because it's a silhouette stamp, it's just giving it a little bit of time just to absorb onto the surface of that card, that's all. Again, just having a little bit of patience. I can then just add a few sort of touches of white just here and there. And we do want this one grounded a little bit. We don't want him to just be floating. There we go. Just looks a little bit more, a little better when he's grounded a little bit. And then I'm going to add a little bit of colour just to my word. So I'm just picking up the colours that I've added in the tulip flower head. So just adding the black cherry, then the crimson red, just to give it a little bit of colour that coordinates with that. And then with the poppy red. And I'm going to come back and add more depth to that. So a second layer of colour. Then come to my secondary colour. And the thing when using your Prismacolor pencils, the only thing I would say is just make sure that your inks, your black inks and things are definitely dry, because the Prisma can pick that up a little bit. So going with my third layer, just add that third layer of colour. And again, just losing myself in that process. Again, come in with my secondary colour. And again, not pressing too hard with that, just coming in to that darker colour. And then use the poppy. Red just to smooth out. And it smooths out because you sort of fill in the white areas. What I'm going to do just to blend that out a little bit is I'm going to come in with my white pencil, so that the poppy red, we blend that out. To nothing. Just so that it's got no harsh lines. And because I haven't pressed too hard, I can come in and just add another layer of that colour, only because I've not pressed too hard initially. So it means I can layer, I can still continue to layer that colour, and I can still see it being laid down because I've not pressed too hard. And then just come with that white pencil. There we go. So we've just got a little bit of that colour just on there. So it's really nice. So you can, if you wish, you can add a little touch of white to your letters. It's just sort of a suggestion, just little touches of the white. I'm then going to add a few little, and I'm using my smaller Posca pen just to give me a little bit more control. And if you don't want to hit this too much, just put a little piece of card over the top so that you don't hit that too much. So I'm going to come in and just add these touches of white once again. And if you find that it's not working, just remove some of the waxy pencil that you've got onto your Posca pen. That's all it is. Just make sure we've got that. There we go. So then this is our next Thrinchie, which I just love. I think I'm going to add a little bit, let's add a bit of shading, a little bit more shading just to include the edge. That's better, just a little bit more definition. There we go. And if we bring our little Thrinchie book in, I love the books, it makes such a difference. So we've got 19 and 20, so that was 21 that I did in the previous video, and this is 22, which I think goes quite nicely with the previous page. I like it if they sort of work together, the pages, it works quite nice. Hang on a minute. Do you know, I thought it wasn't working then, but it's because I don't think there's much glue in here. There we go. That's lovely. Just sort of wipe the top, just like so. So you've got no dry glue on there. And then we can lay our little Thrinchie, preferably the right way, Tracy, just so that it coordinates rather nicely. Doesn't help if your page, did you see my page then, all slanted? There we go. So we're just going to, there we go, add that. And that just works really nicely with our previous page. Oh, I love them. I really like them. So I hope you enjoy creating our next Thrinchie, and I keep forgetting the number. So 21 and 22. So 21 was our previous video and 22 is today's video. And I just love that. So I hope you'll give that a go. Love to all, and I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.